Hi, it's Cammy. Charlie Talks Football.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Charlie Talks Football. So I wasn't actually planning on doing this video today, but because of news that has came out and stuff that's happened, I've decided to make it. So as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, the Great North Run basically have made a huge mistake. And you're probably thinking, look, how does this relate to Newcastle United, which are probably which I would normally talk about, and I'll let you know in today's video, so please feel free to subscribe, leave a like. It really helps out this channel and me to do more videos like this. But let's get into it. So you've probably seen by now that the Great North Run 2025 has been going on. Jacob Murphy and Nick Pope were the first two people who the runners actually saw as they started the race. But these medals are now being recalled and replaced because the map design on the badges shows Sunderland instead of South Shields as the finish line. So first of all, I don't know how you can make that mistake. It seems like, in my opinion, that this has been done on purpose by whether it's some Sunderland fan who works for the Great North Run and has somehow managed to get these Great North Run badges to actually show the route as being Sunderland and the River Wear. So it's very strange and quite a funny mistake. I don't know how they've managed to mess that up, but I feel sorry for the people who did complete that run, because you're running so far and you expect your medal to be correct, and the fact that it's showing parts of Sunderland makes it even worse. So they have came out and apologised, and that people will be getting a replacement medal. But I think this has definitely been done deliberately by someone. So I mean, I don't know how they've managed to do that. It has been said that the badges, the medals were checked multiple times, and yet the organisers still didn't see that there was clearly something wrong with the medals, which I think is very hard to believe, because you can clearly see, as I've got on the screen, that it's actually showing parts of Sunderland. So it's just a bit of out of context thing, but a really poor mistake by the Great North Run. Great North Run medals show wrong city and river, and they've today apologised after the medals featured the wrong city and river. So yeah, there you go. Let us know, any of you guys, in the comments, if you did do the run and you've got this medal. And obviously you would have been surprised because of the mistake they made. Of course, I didn't do it, but I saw that Adam P did it on his video. And the only reason I found out about this was because of the video that he did, and I decided to come on to talk about it because it is a really poor mistake. Now, I'm just going to read you what it says. So and don't worry, I'm going to get into some Newcastle United news as well, but this is just a video. Part of the video is going to be a bit different. So it says, the organisers of the Great North Run have issued an apology after participants spotted a glaring error on this year's medals. On Sunday, 60,000 runners took on the half marathon route from Newcastle to South Shields, but the 2025 medal featured a mislabelled map of Sunderland in the River Wear. So yeah, that's basically what's being said. Now, they did end up saying sorry, and they said lots of people looked very closely at the designs and none of us picked it up. The organisers said, we had Newcastle United stars on the start line in the Stadium of Light on the medal. The Great North Run is truly a celebration of the region. So them comments from the organisers, it seems like they've definitely noticed this, because there's no way you'd make that mistake. Maybe they've just possibly done it because maybe they feel a bit sorry for Sunderland. Maybe that's why they've done it. But get your comments down below on people who have run the race and got the medal, and people who just haven't done the Great North Run, and even Sunderland fans. What are your thoughts on this really strange situation? But enough of that, on to the Newcastle United bit. Now, there has actually been some reports over the last few days suggesting that when Nottingham Forest signed Elliot Anderson, you know, seeing how well Anderson's doing at Nottingham Forest, it's such a shame that Newcastle had to sell him due to PSR. But there has been reports suggesting that Newcastle actually had a buyback clause in the contract of Elliot Anderson when he completed his move to Nottingham Forest. Now, if you guys don't know what a buyback clause is, if there's any older people watching this who don't know what that is, it basically means that, let's say for example, Newcastle had a buyback clause of £40 million in Anderson's contract. It basically means that after a year or so, Newcastle could buy back Anderson and bring him back to Newcastle at any time for £40 million. So that is what a buyback clause is. But yeah, it was reported that there was a buyback clause worth around £70 to £77 million. This is not true, by the way. It's been reported by the Chronicle that there's no buyback clause in the contract for Elliot Anderson. And I wish there was, because it's a real shame. We've seen how well now that he's doing it in Nottingham Forest. So I think this is just, in my opinion, been a rumour made up just because we as Newcastle fans are missing Elliot Anderson. And I'm not surprised because of how well he's doing. But yes, I can confirm what I've been told. There's no buyback clauses in Elliot Anderson's contract, so Newcastle can't buy him back at any time. But on the topic of Elliot Anderson, I do actually think that there's a real possibility one day that Elliot Anderson will return to Newcastle. You know, he did actually say that he struggled with his move to Nottingham Forest. He did want to stay at Newcastle, but unfortunately because of PSR, he wasn't able to stay. And you know what Newcastle are like. If we sell a player, or if we've tracked a player for a long time, if we can't get them in, we're usually likely to go back in for them. And of course, we sold Elliot Anderson. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Elliot Anderson returning to Newcastle in the near future. Definitely won't be in January. Could it be in the summer? But I wouldn't rule it out, because I'm sure this is someone who Newcastle, of course, didn't want to sell and may look to bring him back into the squad maybe one day in the near future. So I wouldn't rule out Elliot Anderson returning to Newcastle in the future. So let us know, guys, what are your thoughts? The Great North Run has a huge mistake as they mess up the medals by putting Sunderland on there instead of the Route to South shields. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. Like I said, Newcastle do not have a buyback clause in the contract of Elliot Anderson, despite being rumours. That is not true. But what are your thoughts on all this? Make sure to subscribe, leave a like. You know, the Premier League is finally back after the international break. We've got games coming up soon. And you know what? As much as I don't usually like international breaks, this one hasn't been too bad at all. You know, it is nice having a break, and Newcastle play Wolves, and then we'll play Barcelona coming up very soon. I can confirm that I have got tickets for that game. It's going to be an incredible game. I can't wait to not just watch it, but also to share my experience of it on the channel to perhaps the people who can't go. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on all this information. And what do you think on what I said about Elliot Anderson? Will Newcastle revisit him? Will Newcastle try and bring him back eventually to the club? It would be a difficult negotiation because of now he is seen as such an important player for Nottingham Forest. But let us know your thoughts. Please subscribe. It helps us out. Leave a like. I will be updating you on all the latest Newcastle United news. And yeah, today's main question of the day is people who've done the Great North Run. What are your thoughts on what they've have they done it on purpose? Why have they done it? And also, what are your thoughts on the Elliot Anderson stuff? So, really enjoyed making these videos, guys. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.